Righty-ho! Here we are back from the divisional weekend, divisional matchups. I'm Buzz Birch here on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. I got my buddy over here next to me, Kip Cooper. Why don't you introduce yourself?
How's it going, everyone? How's it going?
How's your weekend going?
It was very surprising. I had a few eye-opening surprises in this divisional matchup. Let's break it down.
Let's break it down. The highest scoring divisional round we've seen to date in the NFL. A lot of high scores. Crazy weekend overall. It was wild, maybe more wild than the wild card weekend. What was the biggest surprise of this weekend for you, Kip?
Well, I have to say that it's definitely Peyton Manning going home.
Peyton Manning going home.
Peyton Manning.
You were surprised to see that. You not usually too fond of the Broncos anyway. You were surprised to see him leave. Why?
I dislike the Broncos very much. I am also not a very good Peyton Manning fan, but I felt
very good.
I'm not.
What about Papa John's? Do you still order from Papa John's?
No, I boycotted Papa John's and anything that he does, but I thought that he was gonna pull it out. He threw that crucial interception in the end. It's the most surprising. My eyes were wide open for it.
It is most surprising. I'm kind of with you on the same thing, but I'm gonna turn it a little bit. I think how about the Baltimore Ravens being in the AFC Championship game?
Yeah,
it kind of coincides with yours, of course, but I thought they'd win against the Colts, but not a lot of people even thought they'd win that first game.
No, no one. I didn't think they were going to win.
And yet here they are looking at a rematch, looking for some retribution on the weekend. A couple teams looking for retribution this weekend. Before we get too far ahead into next weekend, the championship games we're all looking excited for. Let's recap. Let's some of the
break it down.
Break down some of the games. Let's go to the game tape.
Let's check the game tape.
That's right. All right, let's start it off right there in Denver.
Yeah, let's do it.
Double overtime.
One of the greatest playoff games I've ever seen, and I am not a fan of either club. I was impressed. The way Joe Flacco played. We've talked about road Flacco.
Yeah, I made quite an ass of myself, I guess, considering now.
He
road
had to
Flacco,
prove to
usually
us.
Pretty terrible on the road. This week, 18 completions for 331 yards and 3 touchdowns. 18 completions. What that is going deep. Old man Bailey getting burned a couple times.
I think that he's might be at the end of the road.
End of the road. I know Ray Lewis is saying he's hanging him up at the end of this year. What do you think about Champ Bailey? Chances he retires at the end of this year. Should he?
I think that he lost a step.
He lost a few steps on Saturday, but
maybe he'll come back next year. But his days of being a shutdown corner are gone.
I think that's realistic. The guy's still a veteran. He's got instincts. He's got awareness.
His
got
track
the tackling.
record's great.
And obviously
he's a Hall of
monster.
Famer.
Yeah, Hall of Famer. He's I think talking about this the other day. Dominated both the NFC and the AFC. Yeah. He started off in Washington. I don't know how many of you young folks
He was great there,
that, but he was dominant there, dominant in the AFC. So good for him as far as career, but could not hold it together.
Yeah, Ravens 38, Broncos 35.
Double overtime though. That was pretty exciting. Who do you think though was worse? Champ Bailey, got burned a bunch. Peyton Manning though, a couple ending most crucial one coming in the ending of the game basically. Kind of what sealed it.
Yeah, because of
sealed their fate.
For this game, I'm putting Peyton Manning in the junk drawer.
Ooh, junk drawer.
Just because I had such high expectations. Everyone's been talking about how John Elway made the best move. How bringing in Peyton Manning, he's a Hall of Famer. They got rid of Tim Tebow, who, brought him to the playoffs last year and was quite successful. They get rid of him, bring in a Hall of Famer. Bring in Peyton Manning, and he does what... He pulls a Brett Favre. He does what Peyton Manning does. And it just surprises me. Throw him in the junk drawer.
I heard a rumor that John Elway knowingly hired Peyton Manning because of big-time Manning's reputation.
Really?
And wants to be the, the famed Broncos quarterback. What do you think the likelihood of that did it on purpose. He knew that he
didn't want Tebow to actually get all the recognition of being the best quarterback in Broncos lore. So he was like, let's bring in some choke artist who's going to ruin this, do great all season, and then ruin the game in the most crucial moments. Ray Lewis, though, how many tackles did he have in this
Lewis,
game?
I think, ended up with 17. I mean, yeah, double overtime, but still, he, I think, led Baltimore again this week. That's 2 weeks in a row. I think probably led all teams. Tackles, 17 there. Darth Lewis. Has been trending on Twitter. The guy, I don't know if you've seen any of the games. The black.
Explain this to me. I've only heard about it.
You gotta see if you see Ray Lewis now. He's got the black visor. He's got the full cage.
Yeah.
And now he's got this arm thing. He's coming off the tricep injury. He has this basically mechanical arm. He's more, half man, half machine. He's Darth Vader. Is what he looks like. Next week, I'm hoping he comes out in a cape.
That'd be nice.
Just a black cape. I think that'd really just complement the whole attire.
He just chokes the offensive line with his mind powers.
Basically, he kind of
I like it
with his mind powers in some way or another. It gets at least in their head.
So the Ravens win this game from a last-second kick by their rookie kicker Tucker.
Tucker, yeah, that's right.
And so this is last year they had Billy Cundiff who
kind of Cundiffed them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, last year he missed the most crucial kick in probably Baltimore Ravens history.
Yeah.
And they didn't go to the playoffs. But in any event, this guy Tucker made a really difficult kick in Mile High Stadium. I know everyone says the thin air or Mile High, but
it makes you go further. But still, there's winds up there.
It was like 11 degrees. Peyton Manning was wearing an isotoner glove. He looked like Michael Jackson out there.
Peyton Manning, overall not impressive. Junk drawer this week for him. 0-4 below 30 degrees. Peyton Manning now.
Really?
Doesn't play well in the cold. He can't wear the gloves. Big difference this week, I think, compared to last time that the teams two played. But Denver kind of, put Baltimore in the junk drawer.
Yeah.
The offense actually wasn't that dominant. It was more defensively than Denver's defense. This time, Caldwell had a little more time, I think, to get prepped. Ray Rice saw his share of the load. 30 carries for him, 131 yards. I think that was kind of the difference. Giving it to their workhorse and really setting the tone of the game. That's what made that team last till the double overtime. You have on the other side, though, Ronnie Hillman, I think, came in because Notion Moreno got hurt.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Moreno, he was a trooper for coming in and playing.
Great catch by Moreno, by the way. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did.
Pulled that one in.
It was incredible.
For a running back, that was great. Unfortunately, he did go out on the Kipper's pain train.
Yeah, he's riding it, man. He's
riding it hard this week.
Yeah.
So Hillman had to step in and. Over the course of a double overtime game, that's where you really is a difference as a running back. Ray Rice.
Yeah, I think it's going to affect them next week. I think they are going to be gassed after a double overtime game. Come on.
I think it comes into play next week.
And how much emotion was involved in that game.
Yeah, of course. But then again, we might have the end of Road Flacco. He came up good in this week, and obviously Ray Lewis. These Ravens aren't one and done. They're looking. Denver was looking like a great team. They hadn't lost since October.
Yeah.
They've been playing really hot in Denver. Baltimore outlasting them in Denver. Looking like a good game because next week.
Yeah, who are the Ravens playing?
Who are they playing? Well, New England kind of cruised this week against Texas again.
I predicted Stephen Ridley to be our POS.
Piece of shit. That was a prediction we have. Piece of shit prediction. Who's going to really kind of.
He didn't really
lose it for their team.
He wasn't the piece of shit. He actually stepped it up. Him and Shane Vereen, two young running backs, really kind of proved themselves to the league that they're a tandem that you have to watch.
Yeah, this was one game that we actually, I think, everyone kind of got right on. It kind of went with what the experts say, as they say. New England, it was competitive, but really New England kind of handled them the whole game. They had some help from the running game. Brady looked good. Brady now the winningest quarterback in postseason. Where does this solidify him? In his,
I already think that he's top 5 quarterback all time.
All time, really.
So this might just I don't know if it changes a peg.
As I hate to say it.
Let him win a couple more games, and then we'll talk about him being number 1. But
right, because still, 3 Super Bowls obviously impressive.
And and 6 Super Bowls, going to 6 is really impressive also.
Yeah. But
the big story of this game is that Rob Gronkowski, he was going to start. He came in, caught one pass, fell to the ground, which was his broken arm. And now he's riding the Kipper's pain train this week.
Again, I know he really, like you said, basically the first ball thrown at him, he managed to get injured again.
Yeah,
unimpressive. Why was he even back in the lineup?
Yeah,
he couldn't play.
Yeah, this is what bothers me is that the Patriots tried to subterfuge so much that they really screwed themselves over. They should have saved Gronk.
Save him, yeah, for when you need him. Obviously, that wasn't even a factor.
I mean, if you make the
game.
Super Bowl, save him for then.
Well, that's what they tried to do last year, and the same thing, really, a non-factor. The guy is excellent.
They need to limit
a real playmaker, but they need to learn how to.
They need to limit his receptions.
Utilize him for the entire season.
Yeah, he's not
instead of getting caught up.
But they still managed to pull this one off. It was very. Yeah. The Texans did not look very good.
What's next for the Texans now? This is two years in a row now, where they just can't get off. They can get past the beginning. They can't get off the schneid. They can't get the monkey off the back. They can't compete with the big boys in the AFC. What can they do next year? What kind of direction? I mean, what do they need?
Their coach Kubiak, he's an excellent coach. There's no need to change that. Arian Foster is explosive. Matt Schaub is actually a really good quarterback.
Yeah, 4,000 yards again this year.
This was perhaps his best season ever.
One of them. I mean, he stayed healthy the whole year, which definitely helps that. Definitely solid numbers. And, offensively, they got weapons. Andre Johnson, Arian Foster, Owen Daniels.
Even Ben Tate, as a second change-of-pace back.
And defensively, the team is stout.
J.J. Watt.
Yeah, J.J. Watt. I mean, not a whole lot of playmakers necessarily in the back end, but definitely solid and just great tackling throughout. How can they compete with New England and Denver, Baltimore?
They need some sort of linebacker,
Well, I know Brian Cushings was injured.
He was injured.
That is probably a pretty crucial cog for them.
They still made it this far and still were that good without him. I think maybe some sort of safety, perhaps. They
need some sort of playmaker in that secondary.
Offensively, I feel like they are fine.
Their problem is they don't have a momentum changer on the defense.
They don't.
I know J.J. Watt they have, but you can game plan for that one guy. They need a momentum swinger.
They need some sort of ball picking cornerback.
Some sort of ball hawk safety. Yeah. You're right. They need something big there. I mean, they have good corners. Absolutely.
But really, the Texans should have just, after the game with the Bengals, should have just flown back to Houston. And just save themselves. Just save themselves this emotion.
Ended up proving that to be true. Unfortunately, kind of pulling for them, to finally get over the hump. Not going to be this year. We'll see if they have anything going next year for them. Possibly not, though. Let's skip over to the NFC. Yeah, a couple
great
good
matchups
games there. Yeah, the first one on Saturday night, Green Bay and San Francisco. This was thought to be closer than it ended up being. Difference maker being Colin Kaepernick this time around.
He was fantastic.
Jaw-dropping.
Last week I said that Jim Harbaugh was going to be the piece of shit of the week.
Yeah, we were a little off on our piece of shit predictions. You had Jim Harbaugh, I had John Harbaugh.
Well, I just
not coming through, but
Colin Kaepernick had to prove something to me, and he did. Pretty much that's all that's saying to me is that Alex Smith is a quality quarterback, but Kaepernick, I mean, I'm saying that the Packers defense has to go in the junk drawer.
Packers defense completely in the junk drawer.
Yeah, right next to the playing cards and the staplers.
Rubber bands.
And the rubber bands, I thought that they didn't contain good enough. I mean, how many yards did Colin Kaepernick have rushing?
Colin Kaepernick had 183 yards. That's an all-time record for a quarterback in any game, 183 yards.
And what about Gore?
Gore himself had another 120. I think 119 he finished with. Overall, the Packers D gave up 300-plus yards, 323 yards on the ground. Only on the ground.
Junk. They are complete
junk drawer. You can't play in the playoffs with a defense like that. I don't care who your quarterback is.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers, he's great, but you can't play with a defense like that. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, I mean, is he still the best quarterback in the NFL? I know he was MVP last year. He was kind of coming off that. He had a good season.
I think that he
incredible.
lulled. He had a lull season.
You think complacency kind of setting in?
I don't think so.
Or what do you think
I think Greg Jennings being out for most of the season
helped. A lot of injuries
helped.
on the receiver.
And Jermichael Finley also took a step back.
Patchwork, yeah.
They need a running back. That's really what it is. Not... I mean, what they have, they definitely know what they have.
Yeah, he did all right in this game. 11 carries, 53 yards. He just couldn't get a chance to get going because they were down early.
Yeah, they just had to throw.
Colin Kaepernick had that first interception on the first series, pick 6.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, well, here we go.
Yeah, but he shook it off.
Yeah,
came back. I mean, that was like a vet.
Like a vet.
For first career, postseason start, that was awesome.
It was incredible.
For Colin Kaepernick, the young guy. Expect great things for him next week against Atlanta. How about that game? It looked like Atlanta was gonna just taking names up 20 points, basically the whole game, and then Seattle, they never looked worried.
Seattle,
and they came back.
They did,
and then 30 seconds left. Matty Ice somehow he did it again. The same thing he did against Carolina, against Oakland,
against the Bears a few years ago.
Against the Bears, I mean, how do they not? Just where do you want to start on this game?
This is where my take on it is that in the first half, I don't know if it was Pete Carroll. I don't know if it was Russell Wilson being a young quarterback. Mistakes were made.
Why the slow start?
Mistakes were made in that first half.
A lot of it, I think, play calling, coaching, going for it on that 4th down instead of kicking a field goal. That 3-point, obviously, those 3 points would have been the difference of the game.
At the end of the half,
Yeah, the rookie did take the sack. Russell Wilson, you got to get rid of the ball. I know he tried to, but you got to find a way.
There was like 5 seconds left.
And then he tried to hurry
it.
He tried to hurry to the line, which was good, but they
didn't dispute.
They weren't ready for it.
That was actually kind of a weird point. I thought that they got it off in time.
It did look like it to me.
But it was unreviewable.
Can't be reviewed, of course. As all the crucial
the
points
best plays
in the NFL, that all the reviewable plays that need to be reviewed can't be reviewed.
Yeah. So what is the point of reviewing things if you can't that fumble's not reviewable? Like, what's the point?
Who knows? It's getting better, I guess, or maybe it's just taking more time away from.
It's not.
Watching.
I feel like these games are going right along. These
have
been the best playoffs in recent memory.
They do slow us down quite a bit, reviewing everything every time.
This Atlanta game, Atlanta looked beat at the end of this game. But
they were. You know what? Another 5 minutes. They were. If this game played for another quarter, Seattle is definitely the better team in this game.
Yeah.
Atlanta is lucky to walk away with a win. I don't know how. They looked like a worse team. Even when they were up 20 points, they looked like they were like the worst team. It was amazing to me. And they knew it, and somehow they managed to pull it out. So congratulations to Matt Ryan, your first postseason win.
He looked like he was going to be Matt crying for a little bit.
Yeah, I thought that was going to take off Matt crying. But
when the Seattle Seahawks took the lead, you could just see that stadium deflated.
Yeah.
And for them to come back out and have the drive that they did, and it was incredible.
The difference maker all game was Tony Gonzalez.
Absolutely.
He you know what? He's been sacrificing. He willed this game. He's never had a postseason win. He wanted this. He made sure it happened. He had a lot of crucial catches. His hands were just.
He was on. He knew he had to play big.
Yeah,
and he played. He played like a Hall of Famer plays.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, the rookie on the other side. I mean, amazing weekend for him. It's unfortunate they lost. He went 24 for 36, 385 passing, 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown to complement, as well as 60 yards on the ground on 7 carries. Sorry, he had the pick on the last play because it was a Hail Mary, but I'm not going to count that against him. Of course not. Meanwhile, Beast Mode never really took off. 16 attempts, 46 yards. I know they were losing the whole game, but
Lynch didn't do it for me.
Nothing. No big run. No wear on the defense.
I mean, I'm not going to go as far as to say put Lynch in the junk drawer because I feel like he did have a couple. He had a touchdown. You said?
Yeah. Well, I can't remember if he actually did score or not. Marshawn Lynch, but I know Russell Wilson was more the big scorer for that. Two passing and 1 rush.
Well, I know
I think
that
Lynch might have been Turbin who did that one.
Well, it might be this play calling thing that we're talking about. Maybe Pete Carroll just got a little in over his head, because on that crucial 4th down in the first quarter, or in the second quarter in the first half, They should have just ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, again, if you're gonna go for it, put it in the playmaker. Russell Wilson
give it to your
something?
fullback. I mean, that's
Marshawn
crazy
Lynch
talk.
Yeah, the fullback. That was a
Golden Tate coming up with some big catches in this one too.
Golden Tate was big. Zach Miller.
Zach,
Zach, oh my shit, Miller. That's his nickname this weekend. Playing lights out.
The opposite of a piece of shit. Like,
yeah,
incredible.
That guy was a shining star this weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, really came up big. It's like I said, they came up a little bit. I mean, they came back, but they just. The wrong amount of time left, There wasn't enough time for them, but there was just enough time for Atlanta. It just wasn't going to work for the Seahawks' favor. However, things are looking bright there still. New quarterback looks good. New uniforms look great.
Oh, they look flashy.
Look fly. Unfortunately, I know they should be I think they should just be able to play every game in those uniforms. So just make the away team wear them.
So what's it gonna take? They proved that. Like you asked me this question with the Texans. What's it going to take Seattle to get over this hump?
I don't think it takes much, really. They have everything in place that takes for a championship. They have
Is it just experience?
Defense. It's just experience.
Okay.
This is one of the bumps and bruises that a young team needs to get through to get to the top. I mean, I think they'll be hungry next year. Mm-hmm. And they are possibly one of the teams to beat, already.
Yeah, I bet Vegas has the numbers.
I know.
Next year.
Seriously, if they get one receiver, that's maybe, if anything, that's where they need it. Their offensive line, studs. The defensive line as well, maybe could use another piece, just for rotation purposes at least. I know they have Clemens, which is solid, but you saw what happened without him.
Yeah, but
obviously a big difference. The defense not at all playing as hot this weekend.
I got something interesting that during the game.
Wait on me. What's up?
During this Falcons game, the crowd noise was crazy. The only thing I could compare it to is Seattle. Well, there were reports that the Seattle Seahawks offensive line was having trouble hearing the snap count, which made me think, it's about time.
Good riddance.
Yeah, it's about time. Yeah. It's about time for you guys to have to deal with this.
What's that like? Oh, the poor team, they can't. Yeah. Oh, the trouble with the snap count.
Yeah. Let's be sad about the team that's always doing this.
That's what you're known for. Yeah. Come on, you got to be prepared for that. Yeah, they should be prepared mentally for that. I mean.
Yeah,
that is funny though. It's karma.
Karma
comes back. It comes back. It's
a bitch. They didn't win this game.
No.
Tony Gonzalez, fantastic. Got his first win.
Tony Gonzalez was excellent. The running game really for Atlanta also came up big. Bernard Turner somehow came up 98 yards on just 14 carries, and Jack Quiz complimenting well. 10 carries for 64 yards.
I was very surprised at this. I thought
Seattle's
vaunted defense was supposed to be really stopping.
They kind of got picked apart throughout the game. I think they liked, Richard Sherman had a couple big plays, but they went up that one, and they got picked apart in a couple of situations by Matt Ryan. It had a couple big plays. In the end, they just needed a little bit more time, and they gave it up in 30 seconds. They gave it up.
Yeah.
All they had to do was stop Matt Ryan for 30 seconds.
That's the defense.
That was on the defense. They kind of let up the game on this one, and so they lost it.
And we're just going to chalk it up to play calling because these guys, the Seattle Seahawks, should be commended.
Talented team. And they played awesome this season. Exceeded all expectations.
For what they are.
And I think next year they'll be looking pretty hot.
But let's not talk about the losers. Let's talk about the winners.
Enough lament.
Who is Atlanta playing next
Atlanta's
week?
playing San Francisco. And then Baltimore is playing New England. Let's talk about the rematch first. This is, by the way, I'm calling this weekend Retribution Weekend. Retribution weekend.
I like
Redemption.
it.
I think this week is, we might be heading for a Harbaugh Bowl. We have a couple, three of the four teams are repeat from last year, and I like a couple of those to upset.
Yeah.
I like Baltimore and New England. What do you think, Baltimore, New England? They played last year. They won. New England win 23-20. Of course, everyone knows it. Lee Evans dropping the ball in the end zone, and then Billy Cundiff
and Ray Lewis doing the opposite of what he did this year. Instead of crying, looking like he was going to murder someone allegedly.
Allegedly.
That was yes, Lee Evans, he kind of gets, because Cundiff missed the kick.
He gets Cundiff.
Everyone
forgets about Lee Evans' drop.
But earlier this season, the Patriots and the Ravens did play, and the Ravens...
They did play as well. The Ravens won that time, 31-30. That was back in week 3.
And that was in New England, if correct.
That one was in Baltimore.
It was in Baltimore, okay.
Yeah. And that one, Flacco had crazy numbers. 382 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Brady himself, another 300-plus yard game with a score.
You have to think Tom Brady, he's going to get... The Ravens' defense is really stout, so you have to think he's going to have poorer numbers. And the Patriots...
Yeah. He doesn't usually play too well against... he plays good against them.
He has a good record against them, but
it's not like he... It's not one of his better games.
It's not like against Buffalo or something, you know.
Exactly. The Ravens, they're a tough defense. Ed Reed, Ray Lewis.
That's why this one's for the Super Bowl. You know, these two teams are very, very good.
They know each other well, playing again last year. What do you think run game for New England? How do you think they can piece this together against?
I think that
Ravens defense.
The Ravens coaching is going to be trying to find a way to plug the holes so Ridley and Vereen don't do anything. I think that it's definitely going to come down to how good the Patriots defense plays.
The Patriots defense, ooh.
Yeah.
That's not looking good. I know. I'm thinking how well can they stop Torrey Smith?
Torrey Smith.
Guy can usually burn them deep, and that's what New England, unfortunately, that's what they give up is those big plays.
Yeah.
Going deep, and that's kind of Joe Flacco's specialty.
Well, personally, the Kippers' piece of shit of the week for the AFC.
Who do you have for the piece of shit?
I actually have it being Torrey Smith.
Torrey Smith, really?
He has had the last couple of games he played against the Patriots, he's lit it up. He just had the big game against Champ Bailey. Bill Belichick is going to do something to thwart this. He's got all that young secondary out there. He's got McCourty playing safety. I'm just going to say, for what Torrey Smith could do, he isn't going to do. He's going to have, 58 yards on 2 receptions.
Piece of shit, Torrey Smith. I don't know. I disagree, because I'm thinking the Ravens win this, and the last couple times these teams have played, all of them
twice
within a field goal here. We're talking. So I think another field goal game, 3-point game or less. I'm thinking, though, this year... Retribution. And piece of shit going to Gostkowski. I think maybe not even missing it in the fourth quarter, but missing a field goal.
Just something big.
It's one of those games where it's going to be crucial. Every point matters, and missing a field goal is going to be enough. That really turns the
I could
the
see
tide.
that. I could totally
see that. I think he comes through a little bit empty-handed. He's been solid for him, of course, but you know, somebody's got to take the fall in a close game, and something just one missed field goal is going to be it. I think redemption happens in the piece of shit this week. Gostkowski. Like where do you think the Cundiff is this week? And you think he's gonna be watching the game? You think maybe New England hires him?
I think that the Patriots are gonna hire Cundiff, put him in the booth. Maybe not. Maybe
no,
put him
I'm thinking
on the
put him
sidelines.
in the fans and the crowd right by the end zone.
Maybe he'll just be in the mascot uniform, and when Tucker goes to kick the field goal, he take it off and wink at him or something.
Something I think just to really get in their heads. That'd be a good tactic.
It would be very despicable of them, but I like it. I think it would be good. I think it would be good stuff. But let's talk about the things that people aren't talking about. And this is the off-the-marquee matchup.
Who do you have in this off-the-marquee matchup?
Okay.
Baltimore versus New England. Who do you like in this?
I have Dennis Pitta, who has played out of his mind the last couple of weeks, versus Aaron Hernandez, who has had some really good numbers, but that's with Gronk playing. So without Gronk there, I'm wondering, can Aaron Hernandez do what he has to do against a tough Ravens defense?
You think so? Yeah. That's definitely going to be crucial, the tight end play.
Yeah.
For both teams. Hernandez was pretty big this week, and Pitta really came through pretty well.
Yeah.
As well over the weekend. These going to be real physical games, and in physical games, the tight end and safety matchups are going to be pretty big. We'll see what Mayo brings as well against Pitta.
Well,
on the other side.
Everyone's talking about Ray Lewis. Mayo is a middle linebacker in this league, in this game also. He's going to be laying some hits.
And we'll see if Darth Lewis can stop Hernandez and getting in Brady's head, and we'll see. I'm hoping, like I said, for a cape sighting.
I hope he. Well, maybe he'll do that dance in the cape.
Oh yeah, and
then
then he'll take it off. He should always come out with it.
That'd be nice.
Maybe that would be nice.
Let's
talk about San Francisco and Atlanta, the other side of things. San Francisco playing in Atlanta. This happened again about 15 years ago.
Yeah, this is part of your Retribution.
Part of my Retribution weekend. Part of it is San Francisco losing, of course, last year in the playoffs, but also San Francisco back in 1999, January, they lost in the divisional round to Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons would have continued.
The Dirty Birds.
The Dirty Birds at the time.
Birds, yeah.
A team that should have had no business winning that game against San Francisco, had no business winning the game against Minnesota. We talked about it last week where they had the Gary Anderson missed kick. No business being anywhere near that Super Bowl.
Yeah, no business at all. But
they got trounced in it by Elway anyway. But this is Retribution. The Niners lost that game 20-18.
This was when Steve Young was still playing for the 49ers.
This is his last postseason game. It was very unfortunate. They come out the first play. Garrison Hurst, their star running back, breaks his leg for the 49ers, his ankle.
That's horrible.
And so, it was kind of downhill from there. Steve Young, very poor performance, unfortunately. 3 picks, sent him home. And Chris Chandler, the quarterback for the Falcons.
Oh, that great.
Yeah, that legendary name.
Chris Chandler, was
Hall
it?
of Famer Chris Chandler, that's right. I think it's like number 11, maybe number 14.
I don't even
remember. You don't even know.
He might not even had a number for all I know.
Maybe changed every year because, another
he played in a different team every year. That's why it changed.
Chris Chandler.
But anyway.
Exactly. So they had no business winning the game, and so I think Retribution should happen this week, and San Francisco can take it to them.
I don't know. I don't think that San Francisco is going to be able to handle them. I know you've got this whole Retribution weekend thing, and that's all well and good. I understand, there might be some sort of curse holdover. I always love when you look back at the history of two teams playing in such big matchups, because there's obviously a history there. But I think that the Atlanta Falcons this year, just this week, being able to beat the Seattle Seahawks, who personally I thought were going to be in the Super Bowl, possibly winning it.
I certainly thought so, yeah.
Beating them proved to me that they have a mental toughness that I just didn't think that they had.
I really didn't think they had it. I shat all over Matt Ryan last week.
You were all over him. I had to pull you off of him.
He almost blew it this week, though. He really did. He did pull it together, though, in the last 30 seconds.
They got the win.
Come back. So, you know what? I ate my words. You're right, Matt Ryan. I had you as my piece of shit last week. This week, my piece of shit. I'm still sticking with the Falcons. I'm not buying into what you're saying. I think that was a fluke. Steve Martin, their coach. He's
Mike
possibly
Smith.
He does less with more talent than possibly anyone in the NFL besides Andy Reid.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem. I think the piece of shit this week, though, is going to be Burner Turner. He came through last week. I don't know how. He's not coming through this week against San Francisco's defense. They're too tough. Burner Turner, put him in the junk drawer. Piece of shit this week. Matt crying is happening this week. Tell your friends now. San Francisco's going to the Super Bowl. Retribution weekend. Harbaugh Bowl.
No Harbaugh Bowl. Okay, Colin Kaepernick is fantastic.
He's too much for Atlanta.
And I don't know. If Abraham plays, it all comes down to, do we know Abraham plays?
I don't know at this point his status. We'll find out later in the week probably.
Go on our Twitter at Kipper Cooper or at Buzz Birch.
Exactly. And we'll fill you up on that. We'll fill you up.
But if John Abrahams isn't playing, I don't know. But Kaepernick, I feel like he still looks like a starry-eyed kid. I have to go with him being the piece of shit of the week. I know
think so.
I know it's crazy because he was fantastic.
Fantastic.
But I feel like that was the Packers being junk.
Really.
And I think Atlanta's defense proved something to me against Seattle teams who, Marshawn Lynch, he's no schlub. He's pretty damn good.
He is beast mode for a reason.
And they
So you think Kaepernick comes through piece of shit and...
Yeah, I think that he maybe throws an interception late, or does something that's gonna cause some sort of ill effect.
Well, let's hit let's not talk about, the obvious matchup. Let's get a little bit off
the marquee matchup.
That's what I'm looking for. For this one, I want to go a battle of, maybe not legends, but one legend, another at least.
Not so legend, but after what we have to hear, what you have to say.
Let's talk about this.
Examine the
off
facts.
the marquee matchup. Frank Gore versus Tony Gonzalez.
Yep.
No, they don't play against each other, but this is the reasoning why. Who has suffered more? Okay, Frank Gore, a great career for him. 8th season, this is approaching 9,000 yards, 4.6 carry average for his career.
He's done great.
60 touchdowns. Before Jim Harbaugh though,
not so good.
No winning record. Ooh. A team without a winning record for 6 of those 8 years.
He basically, his back was hurt because he had to carry that team.
Carrying that team, he was the workhorse of a losing team. Just a bad team, a different coach, every year really, pretty much between those couple years. But then on the other side,
but meanwhile, at the same time,
Tony Gonzalez joined the league in '97.
Yep.
The Chiefs, by the way, that year 13-3. So they've been up and down. The Chiefs sometimes very good, but Tony Gonzalez never winning a playoff game until today.
He never went to the playoffs with Kansas City.
Well, he went to the playoffs. They must have won, but they never won. They never won a playoff game.
They never won a
playoff game.
That's
until today, and he's another legend. So he's got
not just a legend. He is admired.
He's the tight end of tight ends.
That's the greatest tight end of all time.
In receiving yards, receiving catches, and touchdowns for tight end. He is tight end. If you Wikipedia tight end, Tony Gonzalez. Yeah, we don't say look up a tight end in the dictionary. You Wikipedia. If you Google tight end, Tony Gonzalez's picture pops up.
Yeah.
He is tight end. So in this off the marquee matchup, who's more deserving? Who deserves the Super Bowl more? I'm leading for Frank Gore for glory. This is my campaign. I think the guy's a workhorse. He's been carrying the team on his back.
I have to go opposite of that. I have to go Tony Gonzalez for glory. The man has
Gonzalez for glory.
Yeah, he's had to deal with some hardships. He's playing on a team that has a chip on their shoulder. He has a chip on his shoulder. Even though
they do have a lot to prove.
For being the greatest tight end ever, he has a huge chip on his shoulder. I think it'll be a more emotional story. I mean, personally, okay, I have it being the Falcons versus the Patriots.
You have Falcons versus Patriots, which is weird, I know, because I have the Harbaugh Bowl.
I do not want a Harbaugh Bowl.
That's what
I don't want
for
2 weeks of brothers.
What do you think is worse? Yeah, what do you think is going to be worse to hear about? Harbaugh Bowl or the Brady Bunch comparisons and how, the Glory Boy is going for his 4th Super Bowl win?
Yeah.
How is he better than Joe Montana? I mean, do you think that's going to be worse?
Well,
or the Harbaugh Bowl, which is worse for everybody to hear about?
I just don't want to hear interviews from the Harbaugh dad. And then, then they're in the Harbaugh house.
The zoom in every time, every camera break is gonna be on them in the stadium.
And then
the Super Bowl. What are the parents side on? What's mom's jersey wearing?
It's just the same old crap. Tom Brady.
But that's just
we had to deal with it last year.
To Tom Brady, I know. I think to deal with it almost every year. It seems.
They have so many segments made that I've seen them already. That's the problem. With the Harbaugh Bowl, it'll be something new, and they'll fit Ray Lewis in there, but I think the Patriots are too mighty, and I think the Falcons, they have that chip on their shoulder. They're just going to prove. They're going to prove.
Final verdict, I'm still sticking with Retribution weekend. 49ers versus Ravens.
Yep.
A couple teams getting back into their glory days, and you got the opposite.
Yeah, I got
New England versus Falcons.
Should be a good
Let's
one.
ride the Kippers pain train.
Woo!
One more time here on the NFC.
In the NFC, I have Jacquizz Rodgers.
Ooh.
He's gonna get some broken ribs.
That sounds.
When Pat Willis spears him.
Hardcore
into the mat.
Well, Pat Willis, I could see that happening.
Well, it's gonna be in the dome, so it's gonna be that tough.
So it's on that tough turf.
Yeah, it's gonna be on that tough turf. It's gonna break Jacquizz Rodgers' hip, or not hip, his ribs. And if you're right and Michael Turner doesn't do it, I mean that's it. But let me.
That's brutal. Poor Jacquizz. The quiz. I hope that doesn't exactly happen to him. Pop quiz here, but what
Let me flip on over to the AFC, the Ravens versus the Patriots. Okay, my prediction: the Patriots. Let me tell you what's gonna happen. Riding the Kippers pain train.
The pain train.
Ray Lewis is going to re-tear his bicep again on a swatted ball, and this is going to make it so the Patriots win.
You think so? I think that's what's going to happen?
Yes, I think that Ray Lewis is going to go out there with so much intensity that he's going to be numb. He's not going to be able to feel the emotion in his body. He's going to try something stupid. He's going to re-tear that injury. I mean, you saw...
If that does happen, he might actually come back next year with a real mechanical arm. It might really actually be bionic.
Real Darth Lewis.
And I still think he might come back next year, Darth Lewis.
Hey, the jury's out. Who knows? If they lose...
If they lose, he's coming back. I think
they win, he's going.
If he wins the Super Bowl, though, this will be his final year.
I think if he makes the Super Bowl...
I think he makes it to the Super Bowl. I'm saying we see Darth Lewis, taking off the cape in New Orleans against the 49ers. That's who I've got for my Super Bowl prediction. Yeah, I know you got the opposite.
Atlanta Patriots.
Patriots. Crazy, crazy stuff. We'll find out. Retribution weekend, championship weekend coming up. Be sure to check out the Twitter. We got at Buzz Birch and
at Kipper Cooper.
And this has been Unsportsmanlike Conduct with Buzz Birch.
As always,
Kipper Cooper.
As always.
Yowdy yowdy.
Clickety clack.
Clickety clack. We'll see you next week, folks.
Good night, England. Good night, England.
This has been Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Tune in next week for more hard-hitting coverage of the games you care about.